of you. Okay, hi. Can you hear me? Am I on? I am so thrilled and excited to be here for so many reasons, but one that I just thought of is that, so I got sober 12 years ago. So many of us recovering people, we consider the day we got sober as one of our birthdays, because it's like when our real life starts. And so I'm 12 right now, and I just got a Lifetime Achievement Award, okay? And I'm not even a teenager. So I am definitely going to go home to my 12-year-old son and say, Chase, what are you doing with your little 12-year-old life? Because also 12, Lifetime Achievement. So I'm going to jump into this right now because I worked really hard on this speech because I want you guys to be proud and happy that you picked me for this award and not regret it. So I have to tell you that I do my job now. My career is to write and to speak. But my most important work, the work that I treasure and cherish every day, is the reading and the listening. So every day I spend half of my day writing, and I spend the other half of my day reading. Because I write so honestly on the internet, women from all over the world write back to me. So I read every single email that I get. I open them up, I sit in my house, and I read stories from women. I read about women's joy and loss and love and disappointment and tragedy and triumph, and it has completely and totally changed my life. Not the reading, not the writing and the speaking, but the reading and the listening to women's stories. Because I have learned, oh my gosh, if you guys knew how exactly alike we all are underneath our layers, I think that, or at least I thought before, that I'd stay on the surface with other people because that was a safe place to be, right? So I just, kind of talk to other people about things like, countertops and highlights and soccer practice and these sorts of things because those things seemed safe. But the problem with the surface stuff is that if you stay there, you end up lonely all the time because the surface stuff is different for everybody. But when you take this leap of faith and you go 12 layers deeper and you say what the thing you're thinking when you're saying the other thing, right, that's basically what I do. I just say the thing I'm thinking when you're supposed to say something else. So when somebody, you're supposed to say, so how was your day? But what I'm really thinking is, I'm so lonely. And when you just say the thing that you're thinking when you're supposed to be saying something else, this magical thing happens because, sometimes actually the other person looks at you like, slow down, I just want to talk about soccer practice, all right? But sometimes what happens is the other person becomes unlocked, right? They're so desperate to get real, and they just want to hear that we're all the same. And so from these letters, I just sit there, my heart is broken open by these stories, and I just feel like my heart's become so broken open so many times that the whole world just fits inside. And I feel braver, and I feel cozier on earth because I know that we're all the same. And so when I started thinking about the theme of tonight, our time to shine, I started considering the question, well, if we're all the same, then why is it that some people, if we're all made of the same stuff, then why is it that some people shine so bright that they just light up the whole room? And they just warm up the whole room with how bright they shine. So I started thinking about that, and what I did is I made a list of women who are in my life in some capacity, and who I find that they shine. Right? And so what it came down to is that these people, all of these women, this list that I made, they all had purpose and peace. Because if you have purpose without peace, you can be kind of like a wrecking ball, right? Because you're trying to get your stuff done and mowing people down in the way. But if you have peace without purpose, then you're kind of just sitting there, right? So the people had to have purpose plus peace, because I think purpose plus peace equals joy. And joyful women are the women who shine, right? So I wrote this list, and I looked at it really, really hard, and I the crazy thing is that I couldn't find any commonalities, right? These are all very, very different women on my list. There were women from every single different background. There were women of every age. There were women of every faith. There were women of no faith. There were women, there were two really, really famous women who were very, very wealthy. There was one woman who was this crazy, badass single mom who can't rub two sticks together right now to make money, but is just amazing. And so I couldn't find any commonality, so I started calling them to interview them. And so some of them called me back. The ones who didn't have lost shine points. But some of them started calling me back, so I asked them questions about their lives. I'm trying to write this speech. I need to know what makes you people shine, right? And here's what I learned. They had absolutely nothing in common other than the fact that they do the same things every day. They have these little disciplines in their life that they do that result in joy. Which makes sense, right? Because peace and purpose, like love, are not things that we just wait around for or just happen to some people, to lucky people, and they don't happen to other people. Peace and joy and purpose and love are things that are created by certain people, right? They're just the results of habits. And so what I did for this speech tonight is that I came up with the 5 habits that all of these shiniest women in my life do every day. And I picked the 5 that I do too, because I wanted to be a part of it. Okay, so here's the first thing. The first thing is that all of these women are relentless eliminators of poison in their lives. Okay, let me explain this one. So I always have to have mental images for everything. So this is my new mental image of our lives and our souls. So there used to be these coal miners, okay, and the coal miners would go down in the mines and they would do whatever coal miners do. They dig for coal or something. And so they dig and they dig and they dig. And the problem is that there was poison in the air in the mines, okay? So, but they weren't sensitive enough to notice the poison, which was super dangerous. So they brought bird cages with them, with canaries in the bird cage. And the canaries were sensitive to the poison. So when the canaries stopped singing, they would know that there was too much poison in the air and they needed to get done. And then when the canary died, they'd know it was time to hightail it out of here. This is clearly before PETA or any of these groups, right? So this is how I think of the soul now, right? I think that we are the miners in our lives. We're doing the work of our lives. We're having relationships. We're having our careers. We're stopping at red lights. We're doing all of our work throughout the day. And our job is not to forget that we have this soul, right? It's a canary. We have to keep the canary singing. And the way that women who shine, they're just all canary, you know? And the reason they're all canary is because they know what the poisons are for them in their lives, and they get rid of them. So my poisons in my life, because I have this crazy addictive personality that used to be drinking, drugs, all the things, we don't need to get into it really, but now they still tend to be compulsive behaviors, right? So now I don't drink, but I might internet shop a little too much. I mean, I'm not on trial here, but it's possible. Things such as this. I do know that for many women, eliminating toxic relationships is a very big one, right? Because we're taught to be nice since we're like 2. So we're convinced that being nice means keeping people in our lives that hurt us, right? So the thing about that is that the awesome thing, like really one of the most amazing things about being a grown-up is that you don't have to have friends that you don't like. It's totally mind-blowing when you really take that in, right? You actually don't have to spend time with people who hurt you. You can just gently, but with great confidence and grace, let them go. Because it is actually much kinder to let people go from your life gracefully than it is to hold them close and hate them. Right? Right? Because that's poison. And then you just swim in the poison all day. I hate her, I just let her go, you know? Liberate both of you, right? Okay, so the thing, and you know what? There are people and there are things in our lives that we can't just get rid of, okay? We can't get rid of every person we don't like. They could be in our family. We can't get rid of every habit that we, right? So, but here's the thing. We can make boundaries to control our poisons. And here's what a boundary is. I was at the zoo last week with my kid because I was trying to be super mom because it was like the first week of summer vacation. So I was at the zoo, and my son and I were looking at this tiger, and it was the most beautiful, it was the most amazing creature I've ever seen. And he was like 10 feet away from us, like super close. And he was roaring, and Chase and I were just standing there staring at this tiger, like amazed. It was the most beautiful thing on earth. And then all of a sudden I thought, I am 10 feet away from a tiger. Why am I enjoying this tiger so much? And you know why I was enjoying the tiger? Because there were big steel bars between us, right? You can love and find the beauty in almost any living being if you have big steel bars between you and some of them, right? Remember that. If you have the tigers, they can be around just the bars, the boundaries. Okay, the second thing is that women who shine know if their canaries are singing or not, and the way that they know is that they're really, really good listeners to themselves. Every single woman on my list makes some kind of daily practice of finding quiet. We have so many voices in our lives right now. We have voices coming at us from every angle. We have the TV, we have magazines, we have books, we have therapists. I have many therapists. We have ministers, we have bloggers, we have all of these people telling us that we need to be more, and we need to be this, and we need to be that, and we're not enough, and we need this, and we need that. And sometimes we just have to turn it all off. The wisest women that I know only take orders from the voice that they hear in the quiet. I have this little corner in my house. We call it the Be Still corner. I actually have Be Still tattooed on my wrist so that I will remember when the voices get too crazy to go sit down and take a deep breath and listen for that, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, you guys. I don't know what it is. Some people call it the inner pilot light. Some people call it the North Star. Some people call it God. I have a friend who calls it Sebastian. That's what she's comfortable with. I don't know. All I know is that what Sebastian usually says to me is, take a deep breath. You are enough. All is well. Get a glass of water. That's usually the directions. And then I can start, because you know what? Wisdom is always speaking. Wisdom is speaking in the same volume constantly to every single person. It's just that some people get quiet enough to hear it. And those are the people who know what to do. So when people are making incredible decisions and they have peace and they have wisdom and we think they're so lucky, they're not. They're just really good listeners. Okay. The third thing all of these women know are that they are souls, not roles, okay? And what that means is that we women tend to identify ourselves so closely with the roles that we play. So if you ask a woman who she is, she will tell you immediately, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a career person, I'm a friend, blah, blah, blah. This is wonderful and amazing, and it's why the world goes round. It's why all of us have lives. It's fantastic. It's also extremely dangerous because if you identify yourself completely and only as a mother, what happens when your kids go to college? What happens if you lose a child? If you identify yourself only as a wife, what happens when he leaves? If you identify yourself only with your job, what happens when your company folds? I will tell you what happens. Because last year, 1 week, I was an extremely happily married woman with 3 perfect children. I mean, perfect on the internet, at least. I had just signed this contract for a dream job. My career was like, whoo, taking off. All was amazing. And in 1 week, my marriage imploded. Because of that, my kids lost their little minds, and I lost the dream job. And I spent a few days waking up in the morning absolutely paralyzed, because if I wasn't this wife, mom, career person, who the heck was I? I literally didn't even know what to do first. And so you guys, one day, I just woke up one of those mornings and I just got in my car and I told my family that I was leaving for a few days. And my car drove to this little hotel on the water. And I said I'm giving myself 24 hours to just watch Bravo and just eat the chocolate, okay? Because I deserved that. And so I did that for 24 hours, and then the next morning I woke up and I said, I am going to find one thing today that I love. That's all I'm going to do. I have completely forgotten what I love because I've been so busy serving everyone else. And right as I thought that, you guys, there were these doors and they were open to the water, and I started hearing these waves crash, crash, crash on the sand, and my soul just like sang. I just recognized that sound as something my soul loved. So I ended up going down to the beach by myself, and I brought a hot cup of tea and a book, and I sat on the beach, and then I walked on the beach, and I learned that my soul loves hot tea and a book and the beach and by myself, right? And then later that day I went back to my hotel room and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And I didn't write for any other reason. No, I've never ever sent that writing to anyone. I never will. It was just something that my soul told me to do. And in that day I remembered, this is me. I've loved this stuff since I was 6 years old, and I'll love it when I'm 60. And it has nothing to do with the roles that I play in my life. It's just my canary. This is making my canary sing. And so I went home, and in the middle of all of this mayhem that my family was going through, I said, we're moving. We're moving close to this little spot that I just found at the beach. And they said, we can't do that. And I said, well, I have this canary, and I can't let it die, so we are moving. And so we moved to this little spot on the beach, and you guys, for the next year, as I just struggled through this horrible time in my family and just tried to fight to keep this little family together, every single night I went to the beach, that little spot that I found, and I sat and I watched the sunset. And every single night I went there to remember that there's just something bigger than me holding all of this together, and if this something can hold the whole entire world together, it can probably hold together my little heart, and that everything was going to be okay. And I'm convinced that that time on the beach by myself is what gave me the strength to make it through that year in my life. It's because I took care of myself first. So, here's the thing. Right now, my marriage is healing. My kids have bounced back. Career's looking good again. It's a shiny time. Like the bad time, this good time too shall pass, right? Because that's what happens in our lives. But the thing is, the freedom is that I know that no matter what roles come and go, I know what my soul needs. No matter what happens, I'll be on the beach with a book and some tea, and my soul will be fine. And that's freedom. Okay, the fourth thing that all of these women practice daily is a belief in abundance, okay? So, what abundance is? Well, this is what scarcity tells us, that there's like one pie, right? And so if another woman gets a slice of pie, that means there's less pie for us, right? So this is what causes us to be jealous of each other all the time. And this is what you can tell, like when someone's living in scarcity, because that person will, when a woman's being praised in any way, that woman will kind of tear the other woman down, right? That woman's living in scarcity. There's not enough, so I need to grab something from her because that will mean more for me. So the women who live in abundance, you can tell them because they will lift other women up in public. That's what happens, okay? So what I used to think is that some people were jealous, and those people believed in scarcity. And some people were just wonderful and giving and loving, and those people lived in abundance. So the good news is that that's not true. We're all jealous of each other, okay? I asked all the shiny women. They feel jealousy all the time, every day. But the discipline that the shiny women have is that they fight it, they counteract that feeling of jealousy because they know they feel it, but they know it's not true. So like I asked my one friend, what do you do? She's a writer, and she said every single time she feels jealous of another writer, she publicly praises that other writer. And it makes the feeling go away a little bit. It's that horrible, tight, jealous feeling. I mean, come on, you guys know it. I feel it like every other day, okay? And When you fight it by publicly putting up another woman instead of down, it just releases. And then all these amazing things happen because connections are made, because we know that we all rise together, right? So when we live in abundance and praise each other and lift each other up, it's almost like you're walking and you get on one of those little, moving sidewalks. It just takes you faster. That's what happens with each other. Okay, number 5. This one made me so happy that it was true of all the shiny women. Okay. From the woman who I spoke to, who is insanely famous, incredibly successful writer, and leads tons and tons and tons of people, to my ridiculously shiny, amazing friend who is the single mom who is working her butt off and raising this incredible kid. None of them know what the hell they're doing. Okay? They're all scared to death all the time. They're doing the best they can. They have plans that they make, and then their plans don't work. They're scared with every new thing that they try, okay? So I think we have this idea that really brave, shiny people, they're not scared, but everybody's scared. And I think that we have this idea in our heads that we have to be better before we get started with what we're put down here to do. We have to improve first. And I really think that that's a huge, huge mistake. Because I think there's 2 things we have to do down here. 1 is we have to follow our dreams, and 2 is that we have to serve our brothers and sisters, right? And there's just no 3. There's no, we have to get better first, you know? We have to be smarter first. We have to be more patient first. We have to be less tired first. We have to be thinner first. Actually, none of those things are true. We just have to show up now, just completely as we are. And follow our dreams and serve our sisters. And so you guys, what I wanted to tell you tonight is that we are all made of exactly the same stuff. And the shiniest people I know are the people who take all that stuff and just do these tiny daily disciplines that make them so shiny. The first one is that they eliminate the poisons from their life relentlessly and daily and without a lot of angst. 2, they get quiet every single day and they only take their orders from that voice. Number 3, they know that they are a soul and that their roles will come and go and that their life is not the stormy ocean. Their soul is not the stormy ocean. Their soul is the unchanging ship that rides the waves of the ocean. Number 4 is that they live with the idea of abundance, and they take every single opportunity to lift other women up over and over and over again. And number 5 is they just show up scared. They just do it scared. You guys, I was so scared, and I'm so glad this is over.